Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Hindu analysis. And today's date is 6th October 2021. And I'm Praveen Chaub again with here some of the important news article of today's newspaper, The Hindu. So this news article will be a very helpful for your upcoming prelims as well as for mains exam. So here is the first article we'll discuss in detail. The first article of today's newspaper is again this is article most important for your GS paper 2. And GS paper 2, we know the international relation is one of our topic. So in international relation, this will be a GS paper 2, the rising concern of Indo-Pacific region, and China is more dominating in Indo-Pacific region. So how this alliance, new alliance that is recently formed between the Australia, UK and US will be a counter China, and how this Australia, UK and US, these three countries alliance is very different from your quad country. Quad means grouping that we call as quad grouping, where a group of four countries is the main member: Australia, Japan, India and USA. So how this occurs, and India must keep its head above water. What this mean article? Article actually it wants to tell that India must keep its head above water means India should be increase its security over the Indo-Pacific region, so that whatever the India is doing a trade from Indo-Pacific region, that will be important for, that will be obstacle free, that should be a security point of view, should be always be protected by international laws, and also cooperation is required from the Australia, UK and US. So further this article talks about the security grouping skills opportunities, but also possible unique challenges which New Delhi call in effort to ignore. So main important thing is security grouping is the most important point here, where all three countries, Australia, UK and US, along with the quad countries, they are concerning it. So here we are going to detail in about the news articles. We'll talk about one by one each and everything. So this article talk about the first important thing is US recently announced a new trilateral security partnership for Indo-Pacific, for the Indo-Pacific between Australia, UK, and US. Okay, so US, this is the actually initiative by the US country, and it is announced as a new trilateral security partnership. So we can say this new alliance is called a security partnership agreement that will be between all these three countries. And we know recently US also means decided to share some marine technology with the Australia. So what is this indicate? This indicate that now US and Australia both are aligning with each other. Both have their same concerns. They have the same motive behind for countering China. So China's under Belt and Road Initiative, how China is influencing the trade route over these sea routes, and also the road routes. So all are basically is occupied by China. So main purpose of this alliance is to how we can provide a security, especially which location, Indo-Pacific location. This is very important for upcoming prelims exam, that there will be definitely one question will be from the significance of this Indo-Pacific region. As last year there was a question regarding a South China Sea. So South China Sea, Indo-Pacific region. For this year mains exam, I am just guessing that where will be a question will be in international relation. One will be Indo-Pacific region, second will be a South China Sea, and third will be your Persian Gulf. Okay, and Persian Gulf is again play a very important role that decide the importance of Afghanistan, okay, or importance of this location, how it play a very important role regarding India's foreign policy, and why the Persian Gulf is considered as a basically considered as a most important sea routes that connect India with the rest of the European countries. Okay, so we'll discuss here in the background regarding the formation of this alliance. What was the reason behind for the formation of this alliance, and what is called trilateral security? So Australia has felt increasing pressure from an assertive China. This is, we know very well that how China is dominating South China Sea and Indo-Pacific region, and also it means dominating in those areas. So this is very difficult for Australia to do a free trade or peacefully trade in such regions because of China is dominating all those areas. So in order to balance this threat, Australia has been trying to strengthen its partnership with India, the US and UK to strategically balance out China. So this is the main objective behind for the formation of this alliance, or the, we can say, formation of the Quad, that is the quadrilateral security dialogue, that is between the four countries, India, US, Japan, and Australia. So main purpose here is to trying to strengthen its partnership with India, the US and the UK to strategically balance out China. This is the most important thing, that how we can able to counter the China that is concerning is more dominating in those areas. Now, recently, US too has been shifting its focus to the Indo-Pacific region. Why US is shifting focus on Indo-Pacific region? This is the question mark. Why? Why US is means dominating in these areas? Because of actually the main purpose here is this Indo-Pacific region is considered as one of the most important, you can say, trading sea routes. And if China will be successfully occupied this particular region, then obviously China will dominate, and China will control half of the world's trade. That's why this is the most important concern for the US, and not only the US and the rising developing country like China and India, sorry, Australia and India also means focusing on the same thing. Okay, so now because of the US shifting its focus on Indo-Pacific region, it given the potential of the region and also the increasing assertiveness of the Chinese, whom it consider a challenger to its global dominance. This is the most important thing that we have to focus, how we can improve the security concern of this region, Indo-Pacific region. Okay, because of the China is more dominating in this part. So in this case, the US along with Australia, Japan, and all these countries are together, are working on in the field of to countering the China. Okay, in this regard, it has been focusing on strengthening the bilateral partnership with its traditional partner in Asia like Japan, South Korea, Thailand, the Philippines, and the new partner like India and Vietnam. So these are the some other countries of the Southeast Asian country that also they're part of the BIMSTEC group. They are the part of the BIMSTEC groups, and new partner like India and Vietnam. It has also been promoting a new formation like the Quad. So see, basic idea here is to focus on how we can improve, these countries are improving the condition. UK has also expressed its vision to engage more deeply with the Indo-Pacific region because of dominating character. Now, when we'll talk about in detail about this news, then we will find that the first important thing is an important aspect of this partnership would involve a trilateral 18-month effort to help Australia acquire a nuclear powered submarines. Okay, a few minutes ago, I just mentioned about that how US is sharing its technology with Australia, that is called nuclear powered submarine, and this nuclear powered submarine is actually is the requirement for the security purpose in Indo-Pacific region. Okay, so nuclear powered submarines can be deployed for longer periods and need to surface less frequently. Okay, they have longer ranges and are more capable of compared to the conventional diesel electric submarines. So this is the new technology that USA is sharing with Australia. The partnership would also involve a new architecture of meeting and engagement between the three countries, and also cooperation among emerging technology like artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, and undersea capabilities. These are the areas where a new world is focusing. China is focusing over the artificial intelligence. China is focusing over the quantum technology. China is focused on how to improve the means internet connection from under the sea capabilities. So this is the whatever the minerals are available on under the sea, that will be the main point of concern here. Now, this trilateral grouping like US, Australia, and UK will be security focused. Main purpose is security focused. This implies that it would be different from but complementary to arrangements such as the Quad. So main purpose of the Quad and formation, the alliance, Australia, UK, and US have the same. They work on the same principle to counter China. Same thing is also we see a reason behind for the formation. The US has announced that the new partnership is aimed to advancing strategic interest and upholding the international rules-based order and promoting peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, what USA is saying regarding a reason behind for the formation of this alliance, Australia, UK, and US, that this new partnership will be advancing strategic interest. Okay, this will be advancing strategic interest and upholding the international rules-based order and promoting peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region, so that each and every country should enjoy the trade. Okay, doing a trade, piracy should be further decreases, a crime rate or whatever the invasion of terrorism. Okay, from they are taking now they are considering a new path called a sea routes from entering in one country to another country, that should be also protected under this new alliance. Furthermore, we'll discuss in detail about this containing China's influence in the Indo-Pacific. So now we know that US is shifting its more focus into Pacific region. Okay, Australia, India, and UK is also focusing on Indo-Pacific region, but how they wanted to counter China. But question is here, what China is doing in Indo-Pacific region? The broader strategic question that the creation of this alliance could occur raises is the unstated challenges that a group poses to the regional ambition of China. So main purpose here is means that challenges that a group poses to the regional ambition of China. So it particularly highlight how far the US, the UK, and Australia, along with other regional power, will go to preserve a free and open Indo-Pacific, including the South China Sea. This is the most important thing that Indo-Pacific region is again new, more mineral resources are there. As we know that polymetallic nodules are more present in the, over the seafloor of Indo-Pacific. That's why India also have given a right to exploit all these resources beyond its exclusive economic zone (EEZ). Okay, exclusive economic zone that is considered as 200 nautical miles from the baseline. So what is called an exclusive economic zone? This is the 200 nautical miles from the baseline, and India is the only country in the world that means rights given from the unclosed. We can say this is a United Nations Convention Law of Sea. This is called unclosed. This is the international organization that looking that creating all the laws related with the water bodies. Okay, this is what they decide the border area where a country should have their sovereign right. So this under the unclosed, the right is given for India that India can do exploitation of the resources exclusive economic beyond the exclusive economic zone beyond the 200 nautical miles. It is to be seen whether the operationalization of this security partnership will lead to a closer coordination among the nation concerned in terms of joint military presence. Okay, joint military exercise like Malabar exercise. You know, now all the four countries Malabar exercise. This is one of the, we can say, a military exercise where where India, UK, Japan, and India, okay, India, Australia, Japan, and US, all four countries together join hand and do some military presence in Indo-Pacific region so that they can counter the China's influence. So undersea capabilities, including the ability to patrol, may be vital to deterring Chinese military concern in the region. So this will be what we will able to improve the security watch, okay, over the Indo-Pacific region by the help of submarines. Okay, so that we will able to focus on this area will be with the high technologies, or we able to understand what China is playing a strategic role here in these areas. So although no explicit mention of the China is made in any of the AUKUS announcement, it is clear that the transfer of the nuclear propulsion technology to an ally was then intended to send a message of reassurance to countries in Asia. So see, in a Quad, very clearly it is mentioned that in Quad very clearly mentioned that to counter China, this is a grouping is created. But in case of AUKUS, Australia, UK, and US, there is no mention about the China. This grouping is against the China. This the main reason behind for the formation of this alliance is just to sharing the technologies, okay, nuclear propulsion technologies, okay, and main purpose here to reassure, providing a message to reassurance to the countries in Asia. This is the main concern here regarding the formation of this. Okay, apart from this, after the completion of this one important international relation, we'll move to a new article. This new article is related with your economy, and economy article related with the microfinance. So in exam, you know, most of the question will be from your microfinance, financial inclusion, inclusive growth. Okay, where government is planning to provide banking services, or how government is doing government strategy means doing to how to remove poverty or generation of employment in our country. Okay, for example, we are talking about the women empowerment. All these things are most important thing here. So RBI microfinance proposals that are anti-poor. Okay, this is the headline of this article. RBI microfinance proposals that are anti-poor. The proposed guideline will favor private credit institutions at the cost of public sector bank. So what is the meaning of this entire article? This entire article will be important for GS paper. 3, that is the where the economy is one important subject. And in your prelims exam, maybe they can ask you a question about microfinance. Okay, what which of the following will be come under the microfinance? Is any committee was created for the giving suggestion to the government regarding a microfinance? All these things are important here. Okay, so microfinance will discuss in detail about the microfinance. Okay, so here is the detail of this news. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one. Okay, so first of all, we'll talk about the background. So in June 2021, the Reserve Bank of India published a consultative document on regulation of microfinance. So this is the report published called a consultative document on regulation of microfinance. So what are the issues discussed under this? So while the declared objective of the review is to promote the financial inclusion, most important, as I told you that this microfinance main purpose, what is the main purpose? Before providing a financial inclusion of the poor and competition among lenders, the likely impact of the recommendation is unfavorable to the poor. So this recently report that was released by the Reserve Bank of India called Consultative Document on Regulation of Microfinance, it says that a clear objective is to to check whether this a microfinance is fulfilling their objective or not. What is the main purpose behind for the creation of microfinance? Microfinance is what we are talking about, to how we can provide a financial inclusion of the okay, so that maximum number of person in our country they will able to access the banking services. Okay, so financial inclusion of the poor and the competition among the lenders, the likely impact of the recommendation is unfavorable to the poor. So reports say that this is unfavorable. This is not means working means they are fulfilling their objective. So that is required for the poor, removing the poverty from the country. So if implemented, they will result in expansion of microfinance lending by private financial institutions in the provision of credit at high rate of interest to the poor and huge profit for a private lenders. So this is the main purpose here. If this will be implemented, the expansion of microfinance will be achievable even by if public sector public financial institutions not working, then sir, private financial institutions should be also play a very important role. Okay, in the provision of credit at the high rate of interest to the poor and a huge profit for a private lenders. The proposed guideline will favor private credit institutions at the cost of public sector bank. Okay, so this report is a very important, clear message given that how a government should make a policy regarding for the implementation of this microfinance objective, all the process. Now, the consultative document recommend that the current ceiling on the rate of interest charged by the non-banking finance company or microfinance institutions or regulated by the private microfinance companies need to be done away with. So here the main important thing is non-banking finance company. Non-banking finance company is will come under the scheduled commercial bank. Okay, this not accept deposit, but it provide all the services. It handle all the services that handled by the bank. So this is the microfinance institutions or regulated by private microfinance companies need to be done away with. This is because it is believed that it is biased against one lender among the many. Okay, so it proposes that the rate of interest be determined by the governing board of each agency and assume that competitive forces will be bring down the interest rate. So competitive forces will be bring down the interest rate because of implementation of all these rules that are made by a non-banking financial company or microfinance institution. It also proposes to deregulate the rate of interest charged by the private microfinance agencies. Besides, the RBI has abandoned any initiative to expand low-cost credit through public sector commercial banks to the rural poor, the bulk of whom are rural women. Okay, as most of the loan are given to the member of women's group that very famously known as self-help group. Okay, this is the self-help group is the group of 15 to 20 women that share. They have a common economic background. So they this group of women, this is very easy for the government bank for giving loan to such a group. Okay, that's the way how we can achieve the target of financial inclusion by giving loan to the self-help group. So RBI has abandoned any initiative to expand the low-cost credit to public sector commercial banks to the rural poor, the bulk of whom are rural women. Okay, Second important thing is here, according to current guidelines, the maximum rate of interest rate charged by the non-banking finance company or microfinance institutions shall be the lower of the following. So these are the some guideline is given how maximum rate of interest should be a shared. Okay. So first we'll talk about the cost of fund plus a margin of 10% of larger microfinance institution, a loan portfolio over 1,000 crore and 12% of the other. Second one is the this is the cost of fund plus margin 10% of larger those who are in a microfinance division, a loan portfolio over 1,000 crore, 100 crore and 12% of the other, or this is just option. Second one is called the average base rate of the five largest commercial bank multiplied by 2.75. This is the what means current guideline is given. So in June 2021, the average base rate announced by the RBI was 7.98%. So this was the main announced by the average. This is the average base rate. Means this is the base rate means iske niche government RBI will not able to lend all this money. The website of some small financial banks and non-banking financial company, microfinance institutions show that the official rate of interest on microfinance was between 22% and 26%, roughly 3 times of the base rate. You think yourself 3 times of the base rate. Non-banking financial company and microfinance institutions. So for the prelims point of view, you must know the non-banking financial company, what is non-banking financial company, what is microfinance institutions, and what are the objective behind for the financial inclusion, and what are the role played by the or steps taken by the government of India that providing fulfilling the objective of financial inclusion. Now, detail of the microfinance institution in our country as follows. So, microfinance is becoming increasingly important in the loan portfolio for poorer rural households. So, a study show that unsecured microfinance loans from private financial agencies were of disproportionate significance to the poorest households, poor peasants, wage workers, persons from the scheduled castes, and most backward classes. Okay, three microfinancial loans were rarely for productive activity and almost never for any group-based enterprise, but mainly for house improvement and meeting basic consumption needs. So in this case, studies show that the poor peasants, wage workers, persons from the scheduled caste, and most backward class were all are classified. They are able to give these loans. Okay, and these microfinance loans were rarely for productive activity and almost never for any group-based enterprises, but mainly for house improvement and meeting basic consumption need. So poor borrowers took microfinance loan at a reported rate of interest of 22% to 26% a year to meet day-to-day expenses and cost of house repair. Okay. So further, we'll concern for this point of here is the rate of interest charged by the private agency on microfinance is the maximum permissible a rate of interest that is for any of the notion cheap credit. The actual cost of microfinance loans is even higher for several reasons. Why the microfinance reasons why loans are provided by many of the agencies are more high? There are many reasons behind it. The official flat rate of interest used to calculate equal monthly installment actually implies a rising effective rate of interest over the time. Second reason is here a processing fee of 1% is added and the insurance premium is deducted from the principal. As the principal is insured in case of death of a default of borrower or spouse, there can be argument that the high interest rate is in response to high risk of default. So in this case, a shift to digital transaction refer only to sanction of loan as the payment is entirely in cash. So contrary to the RBI guidelines, no recovery at the borrower's residence, collection was to the doorstep. So if borrower is unable to pay the installment, other members the group have to contribute, the group leader taking the responsibility. Okay, so these are some important concerns. So shifting of the microfinance, lending. So we should be shift to the microfinance lending. So in the 1990, microcredit was given by scheduled commercial bank either directly or by a non-governmental organization to women self-help groups. But given that lack of regulation and scope of high returns, several of profit financial agencies such as NBFCs and MFIs are emerged because government banks are not able to willing persons who are not having any collateral. So, okay, there is no any security whether the loan will be returned back or not. That's why government have taken a step for a formation of these non-banking financial companies and microfinance institutions so that a trust will be developed among the group of society so that they can able to take a loan from the bank also. So by the mid 2000, there were widespread account of the malpractices of MFI and crisis some states such as Andhra Pradesh arising out of the rapid and unregulated expansion of private for profit micro lending. So the microfinance crisis in Andhra Pradesh led to RBI to review the matter, and based on the recommendation of the Malagam committee. This is the committee that was actually created for the microfinance to give a guideline of proper how we can able to develop all these things. A new regulatory framework of non-banking financial company microfinance institution was introduced in December 2011. So at present, privately owned the profit financial agency are the regulated entities. They have been promoted by the RBI. Okay, so lending by small financial bank and to non-banking financial companies has been recently included in the private sector lending. So recently, this private sector lending are those a group of things will be included that required a cheap loan from the bank. They have no any security reasons. So bank should give a loan. This is the mandatory of all the bank, private or public bank. Both banks should all they have a mandatory to give under the private sector advance. So this post-COVID-19, the cost of funds supplied to non-banking financial company was lowered, but with no additional restriction on the interest rate or other parameters affecting the final borrowers. Okay. Now the 31% of microfinance is provided by the non-banking financial company and another 19% by the small financial bank. So this private financial institution have grown exponentially over the last few years, garnering high profit. And this pace, the current share of the public sector bank in microfinance of the 41% likely to fall sharply. Okay, so this article is one of the important article that will help you in GS paper 3 for writing a good answer in economics. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll meet you tomorrow again with tomorrow newspaper articles. Okay, good night, take care, bye bye.